Hey guys, so pre-season started, right? I brought out a new mastery system, so I'm going to make a video here. We're going to go through them. I'm going to explain kind of what the new ones do, what you should be going for, and then what I've got for my specific champions and roles, so you can kind of get an idea of what masteries you should be taking and why. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to go through the new ones. I'm going to explain what they do and why they're good and what roles you'd want to be taking them in, and then we'll go through my specific pages. And I know it says here that I have 17 pages, but really they're just variations of the same role. So I've got like jungle AD, jungle AP, jungle tank. So they're going to be similar things. So you but anyways, so yeah, here we're going to go through the new masteries, and yeah, it should be good. So first thing to note that they've kind of changed the system quite a bit here in that every row you can only take one of each on each row. So, for instance, I've got Sorcery and Fury here. If I start putting points into Fury, which would be quite bad for my Lux page, but anyway, you'll see points start coming out of Sorcery. But then I'll just put that back in, and yeah. So basically, you can only have one side of each row. So that's just something to keep in mind. I don't really like that to be perfectly honest, but I can kind of see why Riot have done it. So, anyways, so yeah, new masteries. Sorcery now, instead of cooldown reduction, it's just flat AP, which is quite nice, I think. Um, but you'd be taking that anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference if you're going AP. So Feast and Double-Edged Sword is what you have to choose between here. Um, I quite like Feast, depending on what I'm going. So if I most of the time when I'm playing Lux, I will be trying to sustain, trying to just farm. Feast would allow me to just sustain a lot better, not rely completely on my health pots. But double-edged sword is quite good as well, especially if you're melee, because it's 3% if damage and you're only taking an additional 1.5%. So most of the time, if you're going melee, I would take that. If you're going melee AD or damage rather. So that's good, but I think on a lot of more ranged, more traditional mage type champions, I'd go Feast. Or if you're just going in a lane matchup where you're not really too confident, you might want to take Feast just so you can stay on higher health a bit longer. Okay, so then here we have Natural Talent and Vampirism. So these are the same masteries, but you have to choose one of them now. I would say pretty much all the time natural talent because it's just damage as opposed to lifesteal or spell vamp. I can't imagine why you would want spell vamp or lifesteal over natural talent and you really desperately need sustain. You'd have to be going up against a matchup where you really don't think you're going to win if you're going to take vampirism over that. But if that's what you feel you have to do, then you can do it. Then you can choose between Oppressor and a new one, Bounty Hunter. So uh, I think both of these are pretty good, but personally, I prefer Oppressor. But then again, it also depends what champion you're going to, what kind of CC they have. So this is 2.5% increased damage if they're impaired or stunned or whatever. And then this is 1% increased damage for each unique enemy champion you kill. So if you kill everyone on their team, you get a 5% increased damage, and that's it. Of course, though, that relies on you actually getting those kills. So for a start, I guess it's a bit snowbally, but it also means that if you don't get those kills, then you're not really utilizing this mastery. Um, and it also depends on when you get the kills. So that's just something to keep in mind. I kind of prefer Oppressor because it's damage I know I'm going to get, and most of the time if I'm dealing damage to people, if it's not poke or something, they're going to be impaired in some way because loads of champions have CC these days, so you can kind of rely on your team for dealing with the CC. But if you're like going top lane and you don't have much CC on your champion yourself, you might want to go Bounty Hunter if you think you're going to be picking up kills as well. But again, it's personal preference, depends on what champion you're going and your situation. So then this is just Magic Pen, Armor Pen, that one's obvious. And then we have our three special ones. So as you can see, every tree has these. And I'll go through what they all do, and they're actually all quite good. I don't think any particular one is quite bad. I think some are better than others though. But again, I think Riot have done a pretty good job here, as in it depends on your situation. So first one we've got Warlord's Bloodlust. Now that's just whenever you get a whenever you get a crit, heal 15% and of the damage dealt, and grants you 20% attack speed. So obviously that's a mastery you're going to want to take if you're going AD carry. Um, and pretty much, yeah, I think only AD carries are going to be taking this. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any other AD champions that crit as much, but there might be. I can't think of any at the moment. But if you're not going AD carry, and you're going melee AD, then you're going to be want to go in further of the blade. So this is more fighter stuff. And it's just whenever you're in combat, you build up damage over time. So it's really good for fighters. Um, and it's bonus physical damage. So that's good if you're just going fighter. And then Deathfire Touch is just the AP one. It's a whenever you deal damage to other champions, it puts a dot over them based on your attack damage and ability power for over 3 seconds. So that's actually really good when you're in lane for poking. And I guess it can also be nice for when they escape on that, 1 health, and you just get the dot on them. Um, so and then every effect damage is lessened on it. But yeah, I think that's quite straightforward here, though. If you're going ADC, you go this. If you're going fighter, you go this. If you're going AP, you go this. Now, if you're going AP, you also have the alternative of going this, but we'll get to that. I will explain that because obviously this is my Lux page, which is obviously AP, and I've not gone the AP one, but we will explain why I've done that when we go through them. So, cunning. So they've actually, this is the utility page, and they've actually moved it from this side to this side, which I don't like, but whatever, I guess I don't like change. But anyways, so Wanderer, 3% movement speed out of combat. That is beautiful. Um, for, just getting back to lane faster. Although then again, that's not as important now that a lot of people take teleport in mid lane, but if you're top lane or bot lane, or jungler especially, I would definitely always say that as jungler. But it's also really nice for roaming. So just getting to their lane and back to your lane just that bit faster. So it's quite nice to have. And the alternative is Savagery. Uh, I don't really think that's that great unless you're going jungler or if you don't feel you're very good with your farming. I could kind of understand going that if you're an auto attack baser champion, but on a lot of AP champions where you farm with your spells anyway, I don't think that's really worth it. So next up is Secret Stash versus Runic Affinity. So pretty much I would say always go Secret Stash unless you're going jungler, in which case you want Runic Affinity. You can argue that in mid lane you would want Runic Affinity for the blue buff, but really you only get that once, maybe twice during your laning phase, and I don't really think it's worth it giving up the massive sustain that Secret Stash is going to give you. So it just basically messes with your pots and makes them better, and this just makes the buffs last longer. So I would say Secret Stash pretty much always. So then next up you've got Meditation versus Merciless. Now these are both very good masteries, and you really do have to bring it down to what kind of champion you are. So for instance, yeah, this is my Lux page, and I use a lot of mana, so I've decided to go with Meditation just so I can get that nice mana sustain and not have to worry about that much. But then Merciless is really, really good, and if you aren't really mana dependent, or if you feel you don't get mana problems, pretty much always go Merciless. So then next up is Dangerous Game versus Bandit. Now, Dangerous Game is really what Masteries are made for. It just comes down to those, very close calls when you make those clutch plays of 2v1s or dives or whatever, and you manage to get out on like 5 health. That's what Dangerous Game is there for. That's what it does for you. So I'd say pretty much every time Dangerous Game, unless you're going support, in which case you want Bandit for the extra gold. So yeah, Dangerous Game is just beautiful mastery. Love it. And then Precision versus Intelligence, again, both really good masteries. Uh, but I would say if you're going down the Cunning tree and your damage, you pretty much need to get Precision because you're sacrificing Piercing Thoughts or Battering Blows. So you need to kind of compensate for the lost Magic Pen or Armor Pen that you would be getting from this. So just grab that Precision and that would sort you out. It wouldn't be less, sorry, it wouldn't be as much as the others, but again, it does mean you're getting something at least in exchange for going down this tree. But if you're not going damage and you're going down this tree, then pretty much just get intelligence because it's actually really nice. Just 5% bonus cooldown reduction without decreasing your cooldown reduction cap, which is really nice. So then the special ones for cunning. Now these are all really good, and so we got Storm Rage's Surge, Thunderlord's Decree, and Windspeaker's Blessing. So Storm Rage's Surge is just the really good assassin mastery where if you do 30% of a champion's max health within 2 seconds, grants you 35% movement speed. So, think about that on Z. You ult in, you Q, you E, that's easily going to be 30%, like maybe 50% of their health. and then you just get the 35% movement speed for 3 seconds. And 3 seconds in the middle of a team fight or just a general fight is actually quite a lot. So you really can just kind of walk out there unless you get really heavily CC'd. Um, so yeah, Storm Rager Surge is what you're going to be wanting on any assassin. But then Fundlaw's Decree, so this is the alternate caster or AP or any caster mastery actually. Um, so it's basically like a mini Ludens every third attack on a 30-second cooldown. So this is really good for Lux because her combos three abilities and she focuses on burst. So having this extra burst on top of it is just really nice. So basically any champion that is bursty and just has a combo pretty much get this because yeah, it's a mini Ludens and it's 30-second cooldown, which should be less than your full combo anyway, so it's definitely good to have. If you're not really focused on burst, then you go Deathfire's Touch. And then lastly, Windspeaker's Blessing, so this is the support one. This is actually really good. So your shield, heals and shields are 10% stronger, and it gives your target 15% increased resistances. That's really nice. So that on a tank, 15% of a very high number that they'll probably have already, is really strong. So if you are playing a support with shields or heals, then you grab this. And then lastly, you got Resolve, which is the tanky one. So these are pretty much the same. You have to choose between health regen and magic magic resist or armor. I would pretty much say magic resist or armor almost every time if you are going tanky, because if you're going down this tree, it's because you want some extra defense against a laning opponent, or you just want to be a tanky motherfucker. In which case, yeah, you get unyielding. There are cases where you could get recovery, but I would say most of the time unyielding. And then Explorer versus Tough Skin. Explorer's really nice on junglers. But then all the other time you're going to want Tough Skin. So then Runic Armor versus Veteran Scars. I would say pretty much Veteran Scars, unless you know you're playing with like a Janna or something like that. There might be a special case in which you want Runic Armor or you have a shield for yourself. But Veteran Scars is more general and it's percent max health, which is nice, I guess. Perseverance versus Insight. I would say, well, Perseverance makes you a lot tankier, it gives you a lot more sustain in lane, but then Insight can be really nice, I think, for junglers because it reduces their smite cooldown. But Perseverance is still vital on junglers again because, well, I'm sure we've all been in that situation where we're trying to get red buff and we're just on that, 100 health, and then you're like, oh no, I can get this buff, and then you die and everyone on your team laughs at you, and but still, I think this could actually be really nice for sustain in the jungle. But really, this comes down to personal preference because they're both good masteries, and yeah, it just depends what you're playing. Swiftness versus Legendary Guardian. This is quite difficult, but I would say Legendary Guardian most of the time, although Swiftness is still quite good because tenacity is always beautiful. Um, this is a hard choice, so this one really does come down to who you're playing and what you're doing. But they're both good masteries. And then for the special ones on Resolve, uh, so every 4 seconds in combat, your next attack against an enemy champion steals life equal to 3% of your max health. That's alright. I think that's really good on tanky fighters. For instance, if you're going Shen top or maybe Nasus top or something, and you're getting into a kind of long drawn out fight with your lane opponent, then this could be quite a good mastery, and give you that edge of damage. But depends what you're doing again. Strength of the Ages. So this is an interesting one. As large monsters and siege minions around you die, you get more health with 300 health maximum. So by the end of by late game, you should be getting. I don't know how long it would take you to stack these up, but by late game, you'll have an extra 300 health just for having this mastery. And then reaching the max bonus, you get another. It just restores 100 health. This could be really good or really bad because in the middle of a team fight, if you're in a lane and siege minions are dying around you, that could be really nice. But if you're in a river, that's not going to be very useful. But the 300 extra health is quite a lot. However, compared to the next one, 4% damage reduction while near allies, this is doubled, and 8% of damage they would take from champions is dealt to you instead. So that it won't reduce you below 15% health, so it won't kill you on its own. But I think this is really strong because 8% damage reduction when near allies, 4% on your own, and then you actually take damage. So this is the ultimate peeling mastery, really, isn't it? I would say most of the time you're going to want to go for this. This could be very useful depending on the situation, and I think this is more of a jungler one. And then this one, I think this is more of a top lane fighter one. That if you're not really sure which one you're going to want for your individual situation, I would say go Bond of Stone. Um, I think it's a very strong mastery. But really, I think all of these here are quite good. I think maybe this is the weaker one for actual tankiness, but these two are very, very nice. So, but like I've been saying, it really comes down to personal preference and situation. But that's a general idea of why you would use them, what they do, and in what situations you might want to utilize them. But anyways, that's the masteries gone over. So now we understand what they all do and why you would use them. So now we're going to go through what I use. And yeah, this shouldn't take too long because again, I have 17 pages, but we're going to skim through most of them. So we'll start with Lux here. So I'm a Lux main, so I've called this page Lux. This is specific to Lux, but it can also be played on champions that are similar to Lux in her playstyle. So for instance, any champion that focuses on combo burst would pretty much I would take this page because of Thunderlord's Decree. And then it's just standard. Go down here, get your offensive masteries, and then yeah, like I've been saying, I've got these just because, well, I've just explained really why these are great. Now, you may want to take some defense, and I actually do have a page called Lux Defense. I've just taken a couple points out of the offensive tree and put them into this. This means if I'm ever playing against like Zed or Fizz or someone I know that's really going to get into my face and try and mess with me, I just have that bit of extra protection, which could be nice. Um, and the damage, if I'm going against someone who I really feel is going to destroy me that badly, that extra damage isn't really going to help me much. But yeah, so that's just something you might want to do depending on your matchup. Then I got just ADC. I don't really play ADC very often, but I think the path you're going to want to go down here is actually quite straightforward. So just grab that and then dangerous game, and you're sorted really. Jungle AD, so all the jungle ones are pretty much the same. So jungle AD and jungle AP, again, they're the same. They just take different. Oh, I don't know why I've done that. Uh, no, that should. Sorry, I've fucked that up, haven't I? Anyway, so just let me change. There you go. So yeah, I've just taken the damage and the feast and stuff. And Wanderer on junglers is beautiful because you just get around the jungle easily. You clear faster, you gank faster. It's great. And then if so, yeah, as you can see, I've taken a lot of tankiness here. So even though I'm AD, I still kind of want the just sustain and also the 12% movement speed in Brush and River. So that combined with that, you're going to be coming in really quickly. Like imagine that on Hecarim or someone, that's going to be beautiful. So you may notice I haven't actually taken one of the final ones. Now you can, I suppose, kind of take some stuff out from other places to get to this, but I just really feel that Runic Affinity and Wanderer are must-have on junglers. Maybe not as much Runic Affinity, but definitely Wanderer. And and then you're also just going to want the tankiness because you're a jungler. Even if you go AD, you're still going to need the tankiness. But if you really are intent of getting that damage, then you could take this out and try and get one of these, this and Veteran Scars, and get one of the special offensive ones. But I don't really think it's worth it in my opinion. So then AP is just the same, but with AP instead of AD. And then Jungle Tank. Now, yes, because I know I'm going tanky, I've put hardly any points into this apart from to get Feast for the sustain and the attack speed just to clear a bit faster. And then I've gone all the way down to this, Strength of the Ages. So basically, I'm going to be there for every large monster kill that my team gets because I'm the jungler. So I know that's going to stack up quite quickly. And siege minions, I know you won't be in lane to get those, but when you get to mid lane and mid game, you start roaming anyway. You will start racking those up more, which is good. Um, so yeah, that again, it's kind of self-explanatory though, isn't it? Because if you're going tanky, you're gonna want to take the tanky ones, but that's just kind of my preference on which kind of the special ones to get. But again, you can go Stone, but I think on a jungler this will be quite useful. Um, Full tank, again, straightforward, go tanky, get a bit of that sustain, get this one instead because you're not a jungler, so you might be top lane or something, so you might not actually be there for a lot of the dragon kills. So going on to my support masteries now, I've got man mode support. So this is like Leona, Braum, Fresh, Tom Kench. You just you get all the way down to Bandit. You get that just for the extra gold to keep you alive. To keep you buying things, and then Secret Stash to keep you alive. And then you just go all the way down tanky to this, but Bond of Stone especially, because you're always going to be near your ADC, so that's really, really nice. But it's basically like a permanent 8% damage reduction. That's beautiful. And aggressive sup, no S/H, which is no shield or heal. So this is when I want to just deal lots of damage, poke them loads, but I don't have a shield or heal, or I'm not relying on my shield or heal. So I'm just ignoring this and grabbing a little bit of tank, a little bit of damage, and a little bit of utility. So that's quite good. Then I've also made one for when you do have the shield or heal. So you just take the ones out of tank, put them down into here, get the cooldown reduction, because you're not really going to want the magic pen or armor pen per level, because when you're a support, you're poking early game per level. Everyone's bought armor by then. It's not worth it. Um, so yeah, no, but this is really good to have if you do have shields and heals, because 15% increased resistances. That's really, really nice. You really utilize that if you can. So on next to tanky AD, well, yeah, again, this is all quite straightforward, just, AD stuff, tanky stuff, same with tanky AP. But if you're going bruiser and you want damage, but you also want some tank, you're going top lane or something, then I would go with this. It's really straightforward. It's what you would expect, so there's not really much to talk about here. Then Assassins. Now, like I was saying before, this mastery is amazing for Assassins, so make sure you get it. Combined with Merciless as well, 5% damage below 40% health is nice. And then I prefer Oppressor over Bounty Hunter, although you can argue that on Assassins, Bounty Hunter is useful because you'll be getting lots of kills, hopefully. But even so, I've talked about earlier why I think Oppressor is just generally better, but it's Bounty Hunter still does work. So yeah. So then Assassin AD, Assassin AP, yeah. And then I've also made a AP page for when I'm not going champions that want Thunderlord's Decree, and instead I get Deathfire Touch. So yeah, this is what the alternative page for an AP champion would look like. And then you've also got some defense here if you're going into a matchup that you're not really too confident about. So yeah, that's the alternate one to the one with the Thunderlord's Decree if you don't feel like you're going to have the right combo to properly utilize that. So that concludes my masteries. I hope you guys found this useful. I would talk about runes, but I made a guide for season 4 and I spoke about runes there. And runes haven't really changed at all, so I don't really think it's worth going through again. If you want to watch the runes guide, I have put in the video in the description, so take a look there if you're interested. But apart from that, yep, that was the masteries. That's what you should probably be going for. Don't take everything I say to be completely perfect, because I mean I'm only gold 4, so I may not be completely right, but from what I can tell, this is probably most people are going to be going, and hopefully now you understand why people are going to be going there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and feel free to ask me any questions in the comments or general questions about League. And yeah, thanks for watching.